Welcome to the third part of Fusion Warriors style sushi rice and Spam Musubi video series, I guess this is going to be. I don't know. Make sure you have your implements ready because we are going to first slice, then fry the musubi. So get yourself a long, sharp thing and your cleanest still existing pan of some measure. We can even do this while the earlier parts rice is soaking. So then the first step is get yourself this open. And always make sure the Spam is still good. Still good. And of course, now that the can is open, you have to get it out. And your Spam is open. Well, of course, you want to dispose of the can if you don't need it. And then you get the Spam. And you're going to want to cut it about yay big for each slice. You don't have to be perfect. You know. Usually you would use one hand to steady and aim, and the other hand to slice, but, you know, I'm not a Machamp, so I don't have multiple hands like that. Now, Spam is like bacon. It's got lots of fatty juices on it to let it fry on its own. But that does not mean you don't want to use a bit of oil. Just to make sure it doesn't stick too hard, because it does come out of the Spam itself, and sometimes it can stick before it's realized. You want to turn it on to a high heat and let that get warmed up. You want to wait until flicking water onto it makes crackling sound. Still not yet. Meanwhile, our rice has ended. At that point, you can turn it on to begin its boil. You will be doing that in the idea of expediency, but you can even stir it just to see it's all nice. That you want to turn up to high until it begins boiling. You can see here, this is starting to really get there. Here you go, you're starting to hear the crackle. So that should be a good time to place the musubi, or the Spam. So, you grab it with tongs, because you're going to need them anyway. Yeah, hear that crackle. Try to pay attention to what order you place them down on. One can of Spam should give you somewhere between 7 and 10 pieces of prepared musubi Spam. It all depends on how thick you want to cut it. While that's going on, listening to the beautiful sounds, I'm going to adjust the heat a little so it doesn't get too burned. You want to start preparing your sauce for the actual Spam itself. Once it's cooked, you're going to want to put it in the sauce so that way it gets saucy. I like to take a large portion of this General Tso sauce, some Kikkoman roasted garlic teriyaki, and when you're in the mood for it, some ponzu citrus with lime. By the time you have put all that together, you should be interested in turning over the Spam. You're going to want it to be golden brown on both sides. And mind that if a different part of the pan can produce different burn amounts, you do want to move them around a bit, some as well. So you put the less cooked ones where the more cooked ones are, and vice versa. As we see in the back, the rice is beginning to get closer to boiling. And it's also starting to thicken up a little bit. And yep. As soon as I see the bubbles bubbling, that means you take this and you turn it down to a low. And then you get your lid from before. You cover it. And you set the timer for 20 minutes. That's how long it's got to. Now you can check in within the last 5 minutes to see if the water is mostly absorbed. There, that's looking like it. And you just keep these flipping until they get to the right amount of cooked. And as it becomes nice and golden brown, you want to definitely make sure to keep an eye on it. Remember, Spam is a product that is pre-cooked. So when frying Spam, it is always better to err on the side of under than over. You can always fry it more, you can never fry it less. And when you're satisfied with the cook levels of the Spam, turn off the heat and take the Spam pieces and place them into your handy dandy container. Now this is not a sponsored video or nothing, but I do like these things called lock and locks. They're both handy for traveling, storing food, and applying sauces to things that you need to be saucy. Just take the lid, lock, lock, and lock, and give it a good shake. Shaking it all around will make sure that all of this is completely covered in your sauce mixture of your choice. And you can also use ginger related recipe sauces. Those work as well. Purely soy sauce based ones if you want it to be less spicy. Make your own sauce even. But now, oh, it's swelling a little bit because it's hot. Let the heat out a little bit. And now you just wait. And then in the next part, I will show you what to do with the rice. So just know that to make the musubi is going to be the next part. But just know that once the rice is done, once the 15 to 20 minutes are done, you then let it sit in the steam off of heat in the same pot for 10 minutes. And we'll be picking up next time where those 10 minutes have passed. It can be longer if you need it to be, just at least 10 minutes.